You have now joined the Education Evolution. You're listening to Hall Pass to the Real World. This is a podcast for the thinkers, the doers, and those who know the most important lessons just aren't always taught in a classroom. And if you decided to press play on this episode today, please know that you are expected to drop everything and put on your critical thinking cap immediately. I am your host, Lindsay, affectionately known as Miss Black, and we are diving into a little discourse about a current event, or really an ever evolving topic: artificial intelligence, or AI. More specifically, AI in education. Now, we know there are mixed feelings about the usage of AI that are floating around in the abyss. But no matter which side you stand on, it is incredibly important to understand the impact AI will have on our education system. That's why our discussion today is centered around the executive order, Advancing AI Education for American Youth. Now, you're either wondering what the hell I'm talking about, or you're already hit because this order was actually signed back in April. So I'm going to give you a high level overview, but if you're anything like me, you want to be able to go back and fact check at the primary source. So I'm letting you know that I accessed this executive order on the White House site. It is public, there's public access, and you can read it verbatim. So it is titled Advancing AI Education for American Youth. Let's see. Do y'all remember the space race in the 1960s? Well, the White House is giving the same energy as it competes to be a global AI powerhouse. So I'm going to read this first section verbatim from the executive order because I really want you to have a full understanding of where they're trying to go with this. To ensure the United States remains a global leader in this technological revolution, we must provide our nation's youth with opportunities to cultivate the skills and understanding necessary to use and create the next generation of AI technology. To achieve this vision, we must also invest in our educators and equip them with the tools and knowledge to not only train students about AI, but also to utilize AI in their classrooms to improve educational outcomes. Professional development programs focused on AI education will empower educators to confidently guide students through this complex and evolving field. In summary, they're promoting AI literacy and proficiency through integrating it into education through comprehensive teacher training and creating early opportunities for students to have exposure to AI concepts. There's also a piece that was kind of missed in that verbatim reading, but there is also a very strong, heavy push to ensure that the workforce is AI ready as well. This executive order was signed back in April. Since then, the White House has created a task force. The task force has rather recently launched a nationwide challenge that both educators and student groups that are led by educators in grades K through 12 can join with the purpose of using AI to solve a community problem. So the students will complete a project that involves the study, development, or just the use of an AI method or tool to address a community challenge, while educators, if they're doing it on their own, will focus on teaching or using AI technologies in K through 12 learning. I'm honestly curious to know if any of our listeners have heard of any buzz about projects being started in your local neighborhoods or districts, or maybe you are an educator involved in creating one, and we would love to hear from you specifically. So at this point, you might be wondering, what does this actually mean for the education system? Like, how will it impact it? And I'm going to walk you through how it impacts schools, then how it impacts educators specifically, and then, of course, we will land on the most important little beings and how it impacts our kids. For schools, um, schools are going to have access to free AI tools and training that will be offered through partnerships with the White House. So there are various leaders in tech right now that have made pledges to do so, including some familiar names like Microsoft, McGraw-Hill, Salesforce, Roblox, and NVIDIA. To paint a clearer picture of what companies are committing to, I'm going to run you through some of I'd say they're pretty much household names and what their commitments are. So Google is committing $1 billion to support education and job training programs in the US. Walmart is committed to expanding AI literacy and workforce readiness at scale. So they've actually partnered with OpenAI, which are the Chat GPT people. And they're planning to launch 2 new AI upskilling tracks in the US. They will be delivered through Walmart Academy. So associates who complete the program will earn a formal AI certification from OpenAI and Walmart, positioning our workforce at the forefront of innovation through the nation's largest employer sponsored AI upskilling initiative. That's kind of dope. That's kind of dope because sometimes I feel like some of these initiatives are focused on K through 12, right? But as we know, learning is lifelong. So I'm glad that there are going to be programs for the workforce that's out there already. Another name you might know, Intel. So Intel has created an AI for Youth program, which will provide 250 hours of learning resources for grades 3 through 12, teaching technical skills like generative AI and machine learning alongside critical competencies in AI ethics and responsible innovation. Intel's expanded skills for innovation will offer educators 100 plus AI integrated lesson plans and train the trainer support for building secure AI, PC based, of course, school infrastructure. So, in short, to summarize all that up, it means the schools are going to get some funding. They're going to get some support, some grants. Schools will be getting more money to put towards these efforts. And I'm hoping that by the time these are all rolled out, schools will feel like they have more opportunity to close that funding gap from all of the funding that was going on up in, well, I guess it's still technically happening, from all the defunding that's still technically happening. For educators specifically, they're prioritizing PD, comprehensive training on AI with the hopes of reducing administrative tasks and increasing accuracy on performance evaluations, which I can appreciate. And AI will be integrated in all subjects, and they will have access to high quality coursework and certs. For students, AI literacy proficiency. That is the goal. That's what they're going to get. And they will have a stronger basis for a STEM background, which also kind of excites me too. So those are the facts. I'm going to get into my personal thoughts as someone who spent 5 years and some change teaching in Washington, D.C., and also someone who has a degree in elementary education, and also someone who is in the ed tech field now. Y'all, the education system has been operating like it is in the Stone Ages for too long. Yes, you hear about these amazing stories where kids are making literacy gains from locally funded reading initiatives, or schools are decreasing fights in middle schools through meditation. But you're not hearing about these things at scale. You're not. Because they aren't being done at scale, because other things are taking priority. There are outdated paper first administrative systems that cause inaccuracies, which turn into costing monies. And teachers are being asked to do 1,000,001 jobs, including learn the curriculum, teach it, but make sure it's differentiated for the student with severe ADHD and the student performing well above grade level, and keep parents up to date with information and grades, and change bulletin boards and make conversation with coworkers to maintain adult culture. And the list goes on. Based on my current work in ed tech, I have seen the data and use cases of AI, and how it is the most efficient solution that we have right now to alleviate educators. And when we alleviate educators of all of these tasks, they're able to pour into students more, build stronger relationships, actually teach the actual curriculum, and teach it in a differentiated way so all students have access to the content. Now, what does this mean for cities with data centers who are already enduring pollution, or the AI sweatshops in places like Kenya where they are working for less than $2 an hour? Yeah, this means that we are going to see positive gains come from this AI push, but we're also going to see a negative impact as well. And I am hoping that these entities, these companies, are planning for that, are planning for curbing the detriment that might happen from this AI push. Better be paying these teachers for all this training and make sure it's quality training at that. These companies better lean on those learning and development teams to create training opportunities fit for people that are teaching kids, or ensure that the leaders have everything they need to provide comprehensive services. There's already a tech learning curve that is also going to be exacerbated with all the AI stuff. So there's that. And personally, I'm confused on how they're doing this for early childhood. Well, really the K through 2, like kindergarten through second grade. Like, I want to see the focus on how they're learning AI concepts as well. Now, on the ed tech side, this is great. Well, if you have an AI feature already that's integrated within your software, the schools need money. And curriculum providers are integrating AI as we speak. So I'm hoping grants and other sources of funding can overlap and fill the gaps from the funding cuts, as I mentioned before. And pay them teachers. Pay them teachers for learning that. Teacher preparation programs need a BDL. And now they really, really need it. But what do y'all think? What benefits are you seeing from this AI push? How could this push be detrimental at first? If you are somehow involved in the school system as a leader, a teacher, or parent, or an active community member, what have you been hearing from your schools or school districts? If you're on YouTube watching right now, thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe, but also let us know your answers to those questions in the comments. If you're an Instagrammer, comment on our posts to keep this conversation going. I appreciate you all choosing to spend your precious time with me. It truly does show your commitment to the much needed education evolution. Stay informed, stay questioning, and stay safe. Until next time.